A green comet has been found recently in the skies by the observatories, and they reckon that the last time it came round and passed the Earth, it was 50,000 years ago. I wrote a story called the Laissez-Faire Inheritance, which was about a comet which passed the world, Earth, once every 500,000 years. Here's the opening of the story. Miles Longfellow took the cup from the coffee machine, raising it to his lips as he made his way back to his workstation. Less than an hour now, and he'd be on holiday. Putting his cup down, Miles started packing his personal things away in the bottom drawer of the desk, his own personal space. He had to leave room for his replacement. As Miles reached down to close the drawer, a sound startled him. Bong! Startled by the noise, he stood upright, striking his head a heavy blow on the overhang of the desk, dazing him. Miles clutched his head, groaning. It sounded again. Bong! He shook his head, trying to clear it, while looking for the source of the noise. He located the machine responsible and pushed a button. The noise stopped instantly. Miles sat down and gazed at the readout on the computer monitor, staring in amazement as the data scrolled on the screen. His hand covered his mouth as he muttered, "Oh my God, I don't believe it." He pushed the buttons on the keyboard and the screen changed again, the resolution of the image changing as data streamed continuously through the observatory computer system. Oh my God. Frantically, Miles pushed more buttons, then swiveled round to look at the huge main screen on the wall behind him, the screen changing as the data from his terminal was displayed. I'll be damned. He turned back to the computer again, his fingers flying over the keyboard before he grunted as he pushed the enter button. He swiveled round to look at the screen. Miles' hand covered his mouth as he stared at the tiny dot, highlighted by an identifying circle in the middle of the screen. He felt weak at the knees as he picked up the red telephone. The response was immediate. Yes. Hello, sir. This is Miles Longfellow at the Minerva facility. We have picked up a bogey, a far distance object. There was a short silence. Are you sure it's not just a glitch in the system, Longfellow? Yes, sir. I can confirm it's not a glitch. I'm looking at the object on the main screen. So it's not an asteroid? No, sir. Definitely not an asteroid. There was another short silence. What do you think then, Longfellow? You have all the data at hand. Miles gulped nervously. Um, I think it's a comet, sir. A gasp of excitement from the other end of the telephone at the prediction as Miles continued. Yes, sir. It appears to be a comet. And if these provisional figures are correct, it hasn't been in this area for a very, very long time. There was another long silence before the disembodied voice snapped. I'm coming over. Will you still be on shift? Miles abandoned his upcoming holiday plans. This was a once-in-a-lifetime event. Yes, sir, I'm still on shift. Could I ask if I can postpone my holiday? Holiday? You're due to go on holiday? Yes, sir. Due to start tomorrow. I'd like to see this project through. Can I postpone my holiday, sir? Yes. I see no problem with that, Longfellow. I'll be over shortly. Thank you very much, sir. The phone went dead. As the line went dead, Miles turned back to the keyboard and tasked the machines to calculate the projected path and speed of the object through the solar system. Returning to his own desk, Miles started to draft a message to send to other tracking observatories, stopping almost immediately when he came to the subject box. He thought for a moment and typed, "The Longfellow Comet." He looked at that for a moment, then backspaced to erase it. Miles typed, "Comet Longfellow," before erasing that as well. The Miles Fellow Comet and Comet Miles Fellow followed before they were also erased. He tapped his fingers on the desk, thinking furiously. It was his right to name the comet as he'd been first named it. He scowled to himself. The damn thing would be past before he found a name that fitted. The word past flitted back into his mind, bringing his train of thinking to a shuddering halt. He hadn't considered that the object or comet, as he'd come to think of it, might impact the Earth, hit the Earth. And his blood ran cold at the thought. Miles Longfellow offered up a silent supplication as he checked the data again. Oh God, let it pass. Don't let it in. Let it pass. He sat back in his desk and thought, let it pass. What's the Latin for that? He scratched his head, trying to remember from his nearly forgotten Latin lessons. Ablocarian mon? Comet Ablocarian mon? No, that's no good. The door opened and Marquetta della Cruz walked in. She went across to Miles and dropped a kiss on the back of his neck before turning Miles round in his seat and staring into his eyes quizzically. What are you up to, Miles? You've got the whole place in a flap. Word is the big man is coming down here personally. Miles looked up and smiled vacantly at her. his mind on other things. What's the Spanish phrase for let it pass? Marquetta looked at him, taken aback. His eyes hurt, puzzled. Miles, that's no way to greet your wife. He smiled, his excitement barely contained. Sorry, love. Sorry, love. Look, this is really important. Let it pass. What is the translation in Spanish? She shrugged, raising her eyes to the ceiling as she thought. Days la pasa? Look, what's this all about? Miles shook his head. No, that's no good either, Marcha. Comet days la pasa? No, it doesn't work either. Do you know the phrase in French? Marquetta's mouth dropped open in amazement as she squeaked, Comet! Comet! Is that what the excitement's all about? You've discovered the bloody comet? Yeah. Oh my God, you've really found a new comet. Jesus H. Christ, you found a comet! Miles put his hands up to calm her. Martha, look. I really need a name for this damn thing, and I need it fast. I can't let anyone else claim the credit. I found it first. I need a name for the comet, and I need it now. I need to tell everybody. She got up, caught in his excitement, despite being puzzled. Longfellow Comet. Comet Longfellow. You name it after yourself. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with that? You're supposed to name astronomical discoveries after yourself. He grimaced, wincing at the name. He shook his head sadly. No, it just doesn't sound right, Marquetta. And I had a thought, what if this comet hits Earth? What if the bloody thing hits and I've called it after myself? His voice trailed away as Marquetta stared at him in fright, stunned. She put her hands to her mouth as she whispered, what if it hits? Is it going to hit? Is it going to hit? She screamed hysterically. Are you saying this comet's going to hit Earth? Miles grabbed her, trying to reassure her, cuddling her, as huge tears rolled down her face. Her voice trailed away, and he barely heard her question. Is the comet going to hit Earth? He shrugged as he slumped in his seat. I just don't know for sure, Marquetta. The computers will tell us soon enough. I do know one thing though. The projected figures don't look good. How long before it reaches Earth? Miles scratched behind his ear. A rough guess? And this is a guess. 9 months to a year? He looked at her, a touch of panic showing in his eyes as he whispered, let it pass. The French phrase, do you know it? She blinked. her eyes, thinking at half speed. Laissez-faire, I think it's laissez-faire. More positively, yes. The translation is laissez-faire. Miles Longfellow tapped his chin. The laissez-faire comet. He scratched behind his ear again. No, that doesn't sound right. Comet Laissez-Faire. He thought about that for a moment, then sat back in his seat, a strained smile starting to form. Comet Laissez-Faire. Let it pass. I like that. He turned to face the computer terminal, leaned forward in his seat as he cracked his fingers, then typed in the subject box. Comet Laissez-Faire. He inclined his head to look at the phrase, nodding enthusiastically. Yeah, I like that. Miles' fingers flew over the keyboard as he finished typing the message, then pressed the button with a flourish. The message had barely left the building when the office door slammed open, slamming into the stop device which prevented the door handle damaging the wall. As Facility Director Bertram Joyce strode into the room, his face thunderous, he snarled, "Miles Longfellow, I might have guessed it would be you. Why didn't you call me first? Aren't you supposed to be on holiday?" He spun Miles' chair round to stare into his face. That was General Coleridge on the telephone. He's on his way here at this very moment. Bertram sneered. You'd better be very sure you're not bringing him here because of a machine ghost. The last time somebody contacted him, it turned out to be a blip in the machine. It cost that person their job. He shrugged, although it was a bit unfair to the General as the machine was faulty. He leaned closer and stared at Miles, causing him to squirm. Are you sure of your facts? You've discovered an unlisted comet. Miles pointed mutely to the main screen behind the director, with Joyce turning slowly, his eyes following the unwavering finger. His mouth dropped open. Well, I'll be buggered.